Okay, so now I'm recording, so I'll be showing you guys how to model this character over here, right, using extrusion tools and basically polygon modeling methods. Right, so let me just rename this guy first, and I'll put him aside. So this guy started life as a cube, right? So the cube, right, from the earlier tables and chair that you guys have done. So I'm going to start off with an ordinary cube. Like what I mentioned earlier on, before we model anything, you must always look for the references and then decide what is the proportion of the character that you want to model. Alright, so we start off from a cube first, and in order to go into the cube's input, you have to go to the channel box, which is Control A. Under the inputs, the poly cube, we want to give it about 3 width subdivisions. Sorry, 2. Actually, no, 3. Correct. Yeah, 3 subdivisions, and then for the depth subdivisions, we also want to give it 3 as well. So we start off with this number 313, and then we're going to increase the height a little bit so that we have enough volume to work with. Okay, next we can start to modify the shape of this cube in order to match our target model. So I'm going to switch over to component mode. So press F10, F10 to go to edge selection. You might also want to turn on the modeling toolkit if you find that it's easier to select from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select 4 of these edges. Okay, if you press number 4 to go to wireframe mode, make sure you select the 4 corner edges like that. And next, I want to use scale to uniformly scale them inwards so that I have sort of this roundish look. Right, basically I'm creating a pipe object just by doing that. Right? So from this, I can start to, I think this cube structure needs to be thicker a little bit more. So I'm going to go back to my vertex selection mode. I'm going to select all the vertices. You can press number 4 to go to transparent mode to make sure all the vertices are selected. Then non-uniform scale it out so that we can have a little bit more thickness. Okay, next we want to create the dome of the head. So you can go to face selection mode. I'm going to switch back to shaded mode by pressing number 5. Grab the center face. Press W to move, and then just move it up until you have a dome looking like that. Okay, next we want to create the legs. Okay, the legs is to select these 3 faces here and these 3 faces here. So select one of the face first, holding down to shift, double click. So because this is the face group, all the faces here will be selected. To continue, you can hold down to shift, left mouse click, and then double click, and then these row of faces will be selected. Now you can individually select to add on the selection as well. Okay, my favorite method to extrude is to shift, hold down to the shift key, right mouse click over the selected faces and choose extrude face. Then pulling along the blue arrow, I will generate the legs. Okay, so I don't want the legs to be parallel in size, so I just want to scale it down a little bit so you can grab the y-axis and the x-axis just to scale it down a little bit. You can test the shape. By clicking away, you will end the extrude operation. You can test the subdivided look of your model by pressing 3 to see what it looks like. Okay, now it looks a little bit like the Pac-Man ghost instead. So it looks like it needs to be a little bit thicker. So I'm going to press number 1 to go back to the level 1. Okay, I'm going to press F9 to go to vertex mode and press 4 to go to wireframe mode. Select all the vertices, and then again, non-uniform scale to give it much more girth and thickness, like that. Press number 6 to go back to shaded mode, press number 3 to check. Okay, now this one looks about right. Okay, so pressing number 1 again to go back to level 1, we will have to decide how many subdivisions we want to insert across horizontally so that we can have enough faces to pull out to form things like the visor and also the backpack. All right, so let's look at the visor first. So we want the visor to come out from the top here. So in order to insert the edge loop, as the name suggests, edge. So the edge loop only exists on edges. So right mouse click, go to edge selection, then select one of the edges. You can press Q so that the manipulator is not blocking away. You can come to your multi-cut tool here over your modeling toolkit, but my favorite method as usual, holding down the shift right mouse click and then choose 9 o'clock multi-cut. Holding down your control key, and then moving the cursor over the edge, you can decide where you want to place your cursor. So I'm going to put my cursor 1 over here, and then holding down control again, I'm going to put another cursor right about, or rather another edge loop right about here. So this will give me enough edge loops for me to create the backpack later on. Okay, so now looking at the front of the character, I'm going to press Q to go back to selection of faces. To go to face selection mode, I'm going to press F11, or you can right mouse click, go to face selection mode. Then select these 3 faces. Okay, this will look good for the visor. Okay, so I'm going to extrude out these 3 faces. So shift, right mouse click, and choose extrude face. And take note, the first selected faces, right, the orientation of all the faces is chosen. Now, if I were to pull this right, you can see that the faces will blow up by the normals, or it will travel by the normal. I'm going to undo that. What I want to do is I want to pull out the faces using the global axis. So there is a switch over here. If I click on the switch, the orientation of this manipulator will be aligned to the global axis. Then I can grab the blue arrow and pull it out. And now you can see the faces are pulled out uniformly. And if you want your visor to be a nice flat visor, you can use the scale tool to scale it down like that. Okay, just give it a little bit more flatness like that. Okay, so you can press number 3 again to check whether your model is coming along well. Okay, so we want our visor to be rounded a little bit, so I'm going to grab this face, press W, and I'm going to pull it up slightly, grab this face and pull it down slightly. And maybe grab this face here and then just pull it out, just make it a little bit rounder. You can even switch to edge mode. I'm going to select this edge and this edge, and then just pull it out a little bit. And this edge here, bring it out a little bit. Okay, finally, the backpack. So for the backpack, right, the backpack, based on the reference, the line cuts right about half of the visor. So I'm going to start by inserting one edge loop across here. So select the edges, shift right mouse click, use the multi-cut tool, holding down the control and left mouse click. Okay, so now we have enough faces to pull out the backpack, which are these 6 faces over here. So press Q to go to select, press F11 to go to face selection mode. Then select these faces, holding down the shift key to add on to selection. Then shift, right mouse click, extrude face, use the global orientation, pull along the blue arrow, and then we have the backpack. Okay, if the feet, right, the foot is looking a bit too chunky, you can select the base of the feet, then using scale to scale it down, and push it forward like that. Alright, so the rest is just tweaking a model. You can go to wireframe mode by pressing number 4, and then pressing F9 to go to vertex mode. And okay, there's another shortcut key which I haven't taught you guys yet. That is called isolate select. This is very useful when you guys are working on a single model. I'm going to show you guys how it works. Okay, select the model that you want to isolate. You can click on Show, Isolate Select, View Selected. The shortcut key is Control 1. So if I enable Isolate Select, you can see everything else in the world is hidden. So this will make it easy for me to tweak and adjust my character. Okay, remember your soft selection tool. You can also use your soft selection tool by pressing B Okay, right now the range is too high. Holding down the B, middle mouse click and adjust. Can you use the soft fashion tool, right, to really tweak and change the scale of your character. Okay, once you're happy with it, you can exit it out. And then you have your character. Okay, now how to assign materials. Okay, right now you notice the edges, right? The transition edge from here to here is a bit soft. So I want to create a distinctive edge. I'm going to go back to edge selection mode, right mouse click edge selection mode, or you can press F10. Okay, my soft selection is still on, so I'm going to press B to turn it off. So shift, right mouse click, multi-cut, then holding down the control, and then cut it as close as possible so that you have a tight edge around here. Likewise for the white visor, you want to, holding down the control, move it as close to the edge as you can, left mouse click, oops, not this edge, but this edge here. Now you have a much defined visor. Okay, the face, these faces here, I want to reduce the size. And then maybe push it back in a little bit so it's not so obvious. Okay, so maybe I will add a bit more color for this. If you select these faces, let me select these row of faces here. Remember shortcut key, shift full stop to increase selection. I'm going to assign a blue color for this. Right mouse click, assign new material. Then go to blend. If you don't see the material display, right mouse click and choose material attributes one more time. Then I already assigned a blend to this. So I'll give it a blue color, maybe a lighter blue. Okay, so now it's assigned. Alright. So now I want to select the rest. So you can repeat this again, select these faces. Then shift full stop to increase selection. Then we can do something called inverse select. So select and inverse. The shortcut key is Ctrl Shift I. So the other faces are now selected. Right mouse click on the selected faces, go to assign new material. And I'm going to give it another blend color. But this time I want to make this guy a green astronaut. Okay, and then that's it. Okay? That is how you create your Among Us character. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now.